Hi guys, Alex Riles here from Tech Data Security Solutions, and what I thought we'd do in this video is extend something I talked about last week. I did a video on security myth busters, and we covered 4 different cybersecurity topics that I wanted to bust that myth. Now today I thought we'd cover 4 more of those cybersecurity myth buster topics because I got such great reviews last week and a lot of good questions from you guys. So the first myth I want to break is that I would certainly know right away if my system or my home network were infected, right? Well, maybe, maybe not. The truth is there are certainly a lot of malware and viruses out there that you would probably know right away if your system were infected. One good example is crypto mining. So we don't have time today to get into exactly what cryptocurrency is and crypto mining. I might do another video on that later. But suffice it to say that crypto mining is a concept where you can mine Bitcoins and turn them into cash. But it takes a lot of compute power, and most people don't have enough compute power to generate enough money through the process. So what if we distributed the function to lots of different computers and you don't even know about it? That's what crypto mining is. Somehow, the bad guy installs some agent software on your laptop, your computer, your phone, and uses a little bit of your processing power to mine Bitcoin for them and send the information back to a central location. Now, the problem with that is crypto mining is a math equation. It takes a lot of math and a lot of processor time on your computer and a lot of memory. So you would likely know if your computer is regularly being used for crypto mining because it would become slow. Now, there's other types of malware or viruses where your computer would also slow up, like spyware. Spyware could be watching your keystrokes on a keyboard, or it could be turning on your video camera and recording video without you even knowing it. These things take processor, they take memory, and while you might not realize it's happening right away, you would certainly realize over time as the performance of your computer starts to degrade. But you know, there's actually a lot of other types of malware viruses that you wouldn't even know are running in the background. A good example is a rootkit. A rootkit is a sophisticated piece of software that gets installed without you knowing it on a computer and buries really deep into your computer. It's hidden. It hides its processes. They don't show up in your process list. And a rootkit can be used to allow a bad guy to come in the back door of your computer and have free range access to it. They might use your computer for other things like a launching pad for other types of attacks. The thing about rootkits is they're dormant most of the time. They're just sitting there waiting to be used, and you might not realize it's going on. Another type of malware that you might not realize is there is a zero-day. A zero-day virus is something that is a vulnerability in a piece of software or hardware that hasn't been disclosed to the public yet. No one knows about the vulnerability except for someone who found it. So they hold it secret, waiting for that day that they're going to attack with it. That becomes the zero-day. So zero-day viruses can be installed on your computer sitting dormant for a while, weeks or months, waiting on a centralized time in the future when the hacker might be launching an attack in multiple locations, even multiple countries around the world. So 0 days are another scary item that might be on your computer and you wouldn't even realize it. So what do? How do we protect ourselves from these viruses that might not even be known to you on your computer? That gets into our cyber myth number 2 that we want to bust, which is that antivirus software is enough to secure and protect my system. Now, antivirus software is a good thing to have. We need it to try to root out that virus and that malware on your computer. But I think of antivirus as one type of a bigger category of endpoint protection. Endpoint protection might include not just antivirus, but anti-malware, anti-phishing products, VPN clients, or password managers. When you go buy a McAfee or Symantec or Trend Micro from the store, they come in that small, medium, large variation, right? Each one up to the deluxe edition is going to add more and more tools to the toolbox, like a password manager that might not be in a basic version. But antivirus comes in 2 different flavors. Originally, we had what we call signature-based detection, and signature-based detection is super important and still used today. It's the idea that we have a database of all known malware code analysis that we've done. So when we see a piece of code on your computer that matches a signature in our database, we know to flag that as malware and quarantine it. The problem is with thousands of new variants of malware coming out every single week, it's impossible for us to know the signature of all of them. And that's where heuristic-based computing comes into play. Heuristic-based cybersecurity looks at the behavior or characteristic of malware on your computer to try to figure out, does this look, smell, and behave like something bad? Maybe it spawns processes it shouldn't. Maybe it takes an unnecessary amount of processing power on your computer. Maybe it starts to randomly encrypt a bunch of files, which could indicate ransomware. Regardless if we've seen this before, maybe we should just shut down that process and ask questions later. So heuristic-based computing is super important in the modern day antivirus or endpoint security models. Now, what do we do to try to detect, in addition to antivirus software? We need to make sure we have good password hygiene on our computers, and I've done other videos that go into depth on that topic. We need to make sure that we are careful about the websites we visit, because that's the main way that malware gets deployed to your computer. And we need to make sure that we're careful about what devices stay connected to our computers, because modern day ransomware can impact more than just your C drive. It can expand into USB connected drives or even cloud drives like OneDrive, Box, or Dropbox. So the third cyber risk that I want to focus on today and bust that myth is multi-factor authentication. It's a pain and probably not even necessary, right? First, I guess we have to cover what exactly is multi-factor authentication. When we look to protect our systems and log into that system, we use a factor of authentication. Authenticating is how we log into our computer systems. One factor is passwords. That's something that we know in our head. Passwords are something we can memorize, right? And we've been using password to protect our computers for a long time. But the truth is, passwords aren't a great level of protection because we're the issue. We tend to use the same password on all of our websites. We tend to not use complex passwords. We have made passwords a very vulnerable form of protection. So if you have a single form of authentication using a password, that's just probably not enough in modern day computing. Which brings us to other types of factors. Something that you are, like biometrics, your fingerprint, maybe your face scan, like Face ID on your iPhone, or maybe it's a palm print or a retinal scan. Something you have, like a magnetic swipe card, like a badge in your office building to let you in the front door. Something you have could also be a one-time password text to you as a number in your text. Once they text it to your phone, it's something you have. Or maybe it's somewhere you are, which is geofencing. Maybe to log into certain systems, you need to be in a physical geographic area near what you're logging into. So whether it's something you know, a password, something you are, biometric, something you have, like a one-time password, or somewhere you are, like geofencing, those are multiple factors of authentication. And to have true MFA, you need to use two or more of those things, which is why it's so common that we have a password, but then we make them text us a password to our phones so that it's something we have. Any website where you have the ability to turn on multi-factor authentication, you absolutely should, especially your bank account, PayPal, Amazon, anything that would be detrimental to you to have someone access, you want to have more than one factor. Now, the last cybersecurity myth I want to bust today is that cyber insurance will cover my liabilities of a breach if I'm a company. Now, cyber insurance is super important, and it is one good tool in your toolbox to use. But the truth is, cyber insurance was never intended to be the only tool in your toolbox. I would estimate that cyber insurance should be planned to cover maybe 30% of your cyber risk or liability. Everything else needs to be covered by other mechanisms. For example, you need a good backup recovery strategy so that if you're hit with ransomware or malware, you can recover quickly and completely. You need to think about change management in your system so you don't implement random changes that leave things misconfigured, which is another way that bad guys typically get into your environment. You need to make sure that you are thinking about all areas of your risk and liability. Understand your assets and quantify a risk to them so that you can buy the right amount of cyber insurance, but so you can also apply the right tools and processes to the problem. If you do go with cyber insurance, which is a great idea, it's 30% of your liability is about all it can cover. Some breaches can reach into the tens of millions of dollars, and it'd be too expensive to buy cyber insurance to cover the whole thing. So make sure your cyber insurance is a tool that you have, but only a part of the tools that you have. So we've covered 4 different cyber myths that we've busted today. I hope this has been interesting. Please leave me comments on the video in LinkedIn and check out my YouTube page by searching for Alex Riles. I'd love for you to watch all the videos there. Hope you guys have a great week and be safe out there. Thanks.